everyone, this is Karissa back with Elaine on our Project Analysis series.
So today we're going to talk about
Springleaf Residence.
Springleaf Residence. The preview is actually ongoing already.
Yes.
Just last weekend, but they're going to have another one more weekend before the actual launch.
Correct.
I think the information also came out a little bit later.
Yes.
Yeah, last week, just before the preview.
So personally, I'm looking at this project.
I'm sure you did a very in-depth, detailed analysis this time around.
I would say yes, because I'm going to buy for myself also, right?
Yeah.
So I actually studied a lot of the floor plans and
Usually
the different.
it's like that. Usually when it comes to our self-buying, you will even be more in-depth and then be extremely careful about it.
I become the buyer.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so this time around we're going to do a little bit of the different concept and method that we used to do. Very often, if you have seen our previous video, we will do into the price analysis, or price indication, and also the layout analysis. But this time around, it's a little bit different because Springleaf Residence is by GuocoLand.
Yes.
They are actually offering something a little bit different. We are going to talk about priority queue.
So this is what we are going to expect. So in this video itself, we will focus more on the priority queue itself. What is actually the thing that you should take note? Who are those buyers that actually qualify for priority? What is your advantage and how you can actually leverage on it?
Yes, correct. So actually priority queue is quite common in a lot of new launches. Most often we'll be looking at bulk purchase. Let's say for example yourself buying more than 1 unit or yourself and your family members buying more than 1 unit.
Correct.
You are usually in the priority queue. But this time around, besides just the bulk purchase, something different is that GuocoLand is actually giving priority to their ex-owners.
Yes, that means let's say for example, if you have purchased any of their projects before, you are entitled to be part of this priority queue.
Yes, correct. So a little bit of the criteria to be eligible. First thing first, ex-owner of GuocoLand, but you must have purchased directly from the developer previously.
Yes.
But if you didn't purchase from developer directly, but you are currently staying in a GuocoLand development, now currently still residing there, you are also eligible. But if let's say you bought a resale and they have already sold the property, there's no ways to track back the records lah. If that's the case, then not possible. And then something else very interesting is that if let's say you are currently a tenant of a GuocoLand project, then you are also eligible for the priority queue. So from what I understand is that you have to provide maybe your
Proof,
ST
right?
services to
Some
prove that you are
proof lah,
currently staying there lah. Yeah, so some proof.
Maybe I should go and rent.
A bit too late because now we are in the second week of preview. And maybe you can try. Faster go and get something to
I think I'm eligible for the agent queue.
Agent purchase maybe, yeah,
But then
priority.
I'm still after the priority queue.
Yes,
Yeah.
correct. So if you want to know more about whether are you eligible for the priority queue, just let us know and then we can actually advise
Send you the list lah, or send you the list or advise you like whether are you eligible or not. But I think most importantly, what we want to touch on is not only on the priority queue, and it's actually more of some of the key problems when you face if you're actually at the priority queue. Like there are a lot of units to choose from, how to choose the units. Actually, we have done some of the research to actually let you understand some points that you need to take note.
Because being in the priority does not necessarily mean that you'll be able to choose the correct unit.
Correct.
Yeah. We'll go into that later on, but let's start with the project information first. So these are the artist impression. Both of us have already visited the Showflat. It's actually very impressive.
That is the reason why I want to buy.
Carissa is super excited right now.
I am very excited. I've been looking at the floor plan and then the side plan, which unit should I choose? Then this facing, that facing,
So
that kind of
she will
thing.
be most suitable person to advise you on all the layout because
can be
she
neighbours
studied
maybe.
everything already. Yeah, so these are some of the artist impression. Again, I think the images doesn't really represent as well. So visiting the Showflat itself is actually a well representative lah. You can better feel and see for yourself.
Yeah, because actually the actual site is just beside.
Just beside,
Yes.
right? It's probably just another 2-3 minutes walk.
Correct.
Yeah.
So when you go down, you can actually see the environment, the whole place. They're full of greeneries, etc.
So this is actually the actual location. The
Yes.
Showflat is somewhere here.
Yes.
MRT station is
Correct,
here.
correct.
So it's actually just like 2 minutes walk. What happened is that actually just beside the MRT station, there is another plot of land.
Yes, correct.
Yeah, not sold yet, but it's actually a mixed development.
Parcel A lah.
Yeah, correct. So if it's a mixed development, means to say that there will be
Retail
more
space.
amenities.
Yes.
Yeah.
I
So-
would deem that there will probably be supermarket and things like
Yeah.
that lah. That don't quote me, but I think
But it's very nice to have because you're like
Exactly.
tapping onto the amenities. Yeah, you're just next to it,
Exactly.
but you're not paying for a mixed development kind of pricing.
Correct.
So I think this is also one of the reasons why the Showflat is like super crowded. So this is the actual site, and this is actually the site plan.
It's
5 blocks.
total of 5 blocks. It's a huge plot of land actually. And then of course it also consists of the conservation building. So this one, we also will touch on it later. Like if let's say you're looking at the conserved building, what are things that you need to take note as well?
This used to be a school campus, is it?
Yeah, correct.
So under the regulation, they have to conserve this whole building. So this is the site plan.
Yeah.
And elevation plan, highest floor is 25th story.
Yes. Right. And of course, in between, there are also like some sky terraces, etc. So those, we will touch on it
which
later.
are actually added facilities for the residents.
Yeah, and conserved, there is only 4 stories only. So it's a short block. So that means actually, right, if you look back into the site plan, here, this side are all pretty much unblocked, I would say. Yes, correct. But of course, over here, there is the MRT over here. Then the future plot is over here. Later, we will go into the views and everything. But most importantly, right, if you look at the whole site plan itself, is facing north and south mainly. And then the north facing, it's this. It's very nice.
Which is towards the Springleaf Forest.
Correct, correct. And then here, of course, we have the forest as well. Then we have SLE facing.
Okay, so these blocks over here will be actually towards the expressway facing.
Correct.
But because you still have quite a bit of greenery, so it's not like facing the road directly.
Yes.
You still have unblocked greenery.
Yes, of course, there is setback as well.
But of course, not to deny, there will be probably a little bit of the road noise.
Yes, yes. Then we go to the fact sheet. So total number of units is 941. Consists of 5 residential towers of 909 and 32 units at the conserved buildings. TOP is expected to be second half of 2029.
She's already visualizing like where she can collect the keys.
Then of course we have unit mix. There are 2-bedroom basic, 2-bedroom standard. We have 3-bedroom basic, 3-bedroom standard as well. So later we will actually touch on the different layouts and also what are their main difference in terms of their layout.
In terms of the mix, right, I think it's quite well distributed between the 2-bed and the 3-bed.
Yes, correct.
Not like in some of the developments whereby they have got more of the smaller units. Because I think they also foresee that this is actually a very good environment and good development
for own stay.
Okay. So
now,
this is the
important part, right?
The emphasis that we need to talk about
Yes.
in this analysis video. The advantage of buying through priority queue. So we talked so much earlier on like good to be in a priority. So what exactly are the advantages? What exactly can you buy when you're at the priority queue?
And what is also the disadvantages if you're at the priority?
So 2 school of thoughts are 2 things to look at. So who can qualify for priority queue? Just now we have also mentioned, like for example, you actually purchase a GuocoLand development.
Ex-owner, current owner,
owners,
current residential tenant, which is all listed here. And then of course the 1-tier linkage, which is spouse, parents, siblings, children.
So example, if my parents used to buy a development for GuocoLand, and if I want to buy now, because my parents and myself, so it's 1 tier lah.
Correct.
So that means I'll be eligible for the priority as well.
That's under the loyalty purchase part. If it's multiple purchase, I think you have to go by this first tier link.
Multiple purchase will be the more common practice lah in a lot of new developments. Then of course the VIP purchase will be those who are related to GuocoLand directly. So again, if you need to understand more about are you eligible for the priority queue, just feel free to contact us and then we can actually assess for you.
Yeah, so this is the list of developments. So it's easier for you to understand. If you need this list, just contact any of us.
So let's go to the benefits of buying through the priority queue. So again, we like to use case studies because the case studies are what has been transacted, what buyers have already accepted in terms of the pricing. We want to use case study because it's real examples.
Yes.
So there are 2 case studies we are looking at, which is number 1 is Midtown Modern, the other one is Lentor Mansion, because both of them are actually by GuocoLand. So for Midtown Modern,
if you look right on the priority itself, on the 19th of March, if you look at the 7th floor unit, right, it was transacted at 1.461.
This for a 2-bedroom.
Yes, it's a 592 square feet unit. Then if you look at when it's open to
the
public,
rest of those who have submitted their interest.
Correct. Yeah. So if you look right, 5th floor actually transacted higher than 7th floor.
Before we go into that, why do we see 2 dates over here? One is on the 19th and one is on the 20th. Because typically, if you are in the priority queue, means to say you purchase 1 day before the rest of the people who submitted their interest.
Yes,
so
correct.
that explains the difference in the date. One is on 19th and one is on 20th. So what Karissa mentioned is that same size but purchase lower price, even though it's actually a higher floor. 7th floor is actually a 1.46.
So you're looking at about 130,000 difference.
So this one, right, is actually a very good cushion for the buyers. Let's say you're an owner of the 2-bedroom unit.
Correct. If I'm eligible for priority queue, right, then this is kind of like a no-brainer lah. That means within one day, you actually
one
make
day,
130,000.
Your inbuilt profit is already 130,000. So that's for 2-bedroom.
Yes.
Then how about 3-bedroom?
Now we look at 3-bedroom. 3-bedroom, again, the same
Same
thing.
size,
Yeah.
Same size we are looking at.
Correct. And
Yeah.
then on the priority queue itself, which is on the 19th,
19th.
and then this is public, right? 20th, same thing. 904, they actually transacted at 2.2 million. Whereas public,
Next day.
right? Next day, 4th floor, transacted at 2.376. That is 176,000. So if you look at this itself, it is already inbuilt into your profits. Let's not talk about the developer staging up the price, etc. Within this itself, right, you're actually looking at one day you make 176,000. This is actually the benefits of the priority queue.
Being able to be in the
Yes.
priority, right?
Yes.
So that was for Midtown. And then now we look at Lentor Mansion. So very similar purchase trends is that we also have a day difference, which is 15th of March and 16th of March. So for this one,
This
it's
was only
actually
last year. That one was 2021.
yeah. So that's why moving forward for Springleaf, we reckon that it's going to be very similar in terms of how they're going to price it as
Correct.
well, right?
Correct.
So this one, 2-bedroom, same size. We want to get same size because that's how we see a fair comparison. So this one, same thing. On the 6th floor, one day before, I purchased at 2279 per square foot at 1.2 million. All right. One day later, actually, if you look at this, right, it's actually lower floors, but my purchase price in terms of per square foot went up. In terms of the total quantum
also went up.
also. So this is for Lentor Mansion 2-bedroom transaction. Next, we look at the 3-bedroom transaction, same purchase trend. So one day before, on the 15th of March, 3-bedroom, again, same size that we're looking at. This one is actually purchased at 1.9-ish, 1.933, 1.94, 1.95. And that's actually all for the higher floors.
Yeah, and then the second floor actually one day after transacted at 1.966. If you talk about in terms of per floor jump, etc., you don't even need to talk about that. Yeah.
Because typically the lower floor should be of a lower price.
Yes.
It's because of the priority that was actually sold one day earlier. So that's why we can actually see this kind of purchase trend. So that is really the advantage if let's say you're going through the priority queue. So we said so much.
Yes.
So if let's say GuocoLand is going to adopt the same kind of pricing strategy, very likely in Springleaf we're going to see the same thing as well.
Exactly. So this one is like a no-brainer. You know, you go in, you likely will be able to get something that is cushioned for yourself because the other days will be transacted at higher price. But what if we tell you that we also spot something that you might want to know if you are in the priority queue?
So this is actually some situation that you will also end up facing with or in this kind of situation. So what's the problem? What's the problem of it? Because being in the priority means you are the first few.
Correct.
And if you have been to some of the new launches, you probably also have heard agents telling you that we don't have the actual pricing as of now. During the preview stage, we don't have actual pricing.
Yeah,
The
even on the
pricing-
actual day, you have to
Yes.
ask
Correct.
unit by unit.
Not all developers
Correct.
will give you the full price list. Very often they will say that, okay, what is the unit that you want to know? And then it's all priced on us. So if let's say you are the first few and then you have got so many choices, so what is actually the situation that you'll be faced with? This is also one case study, also pertaining to Lentor Mansion, the case study that not everyone is able to have the inbuilt profit there. Because why? Let me show you. This one is actually a 2-bedroom transaction. So for this one, again, we have the 15th March and the 16th March. So this is actually a 2-bedroom transaction, 527 square feet. If you look at this, on the 15th March, these people actually purchased at 1.2-ish. But the next day, there are actually transactions for the same size, but
There was
only
transacted
at
at lower.
1.1-ish.
This group of buyers don't fall in the same category of those that has already sit in the cushion
A
of
bit
100.
loose out in a way.
Yeah.
So why is that so? So they bought one day later, but they actually can get a lower quantum price. Okay, so there could be a little bit of different situations. Like for example, if I am actually this group of buyer over here, the first day one, who bought actually a higher price, it could be because they don't have enough data information, they do not have the pricing to compare, they do not know what are the prices they should actually ask for to compare.
Because let's say there's 941 units. It's impossible for you to ask for 941
You
units.
can't. By the time you ask finish liao, is the next day already. You will no longer be in the priority. Another situation is maybe you are very fixated on a very specific stats. You just want that.
Correct.
So on the launch day, you will just tell your agent that actually I just want this stack for whatever reason. But maybe your agent is not able to advise you that why don't you consider
other stack.
Because there are stacks or different facing that is actually much more attractive.
Let's just talk about like maybe 2-bedroom. 2-bedroom mostly is for rental or is for investment,
Yes.
right? So in terms of that, actually in terms of quantum, it does make sense to buy at a lower quantum.
Correct. Because very quantum sensitive.
Correct.
100,000 difference, it affects the potential
Yes.
yield. So this is the situation whereby if you are in a priority queue but you are not able to leverage correctly or effectively on that. This whole thing happens when there are too many options.
Yeah. Like we say 941 units, how to ask for so many?
Okay, we don't say 900 lah. Maybe
Yeah.
even if it's 300 units,
Very
also
difficult.
cannot be asking for 150 units in terms of the pricing.
Correct.
By the time you get all the pricing right, it is like don't know when already.
Yeah.
So because of that, right, you are not able to identify the most value price units. So you end up buying the wrong unit.
Yes.
First thing first, to identify what are the things that you need to know, what are the homework that you need to do before you even go for the purchase.
So we actually come up with a few steps. It's a guide for you to go through. This, of course, is for priority queue, but there are also bulk purchase. Let's say you're looking at other projects, you happen to browse through this video. These are also steps or guides that you can actually follow through for other projects as well.
To be honest, right, even if you are not in a priority queue, if you are actually the second day whereby you actually ballot together with the rest of the people who submitted their interest, right, and your queue happens to be the first batch, you will also be faced with this problem.
Correct. Because there's so many units to choose from.
Maybe the first day is
Plenty
only
lah,
a
plenty.
20%, right? You still have 80% of the units to look at. This can also work if, let's say, you are the first few, the earlier batch in terms of the balloting.
We have actually worked out 5 steps. Number 1, you shortlist the unit type first. Let's say if I'm looking for 2-bedroom, 3-bedroom, or whatsoever bedrooms types that you're looking at. Second step will actually be compare the pricing for the same facing units. Then the third step, of course, is to compare the same unit type but different facing. So this one I think is quite crucial also, because you need to understand that whatever that you're choosing, does it have a premium difference in terms of different facing?
A lot of us will always be very fixated that I just want the pool facing, I just want the whatever facing, right? Then end up you are not able to compare.
Correct.
Then you don't know what's the price difference or the loading, and you may potentially end up paying a very high premium for the facing that you want to.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Which is nothing wrong if you're buying for own stay and you really like it, but most of the time, we also want to come into whether is it worth to pay for that. Yeah.
Because sometimes we will know how the developer actually price the units and how they actually load the premium on different stacks. So this part, if let's say you want to get a very, very good deal, or you want to compare with whatever that you're buying, is it a good deal or not? I would say step 3 is actually one of the most crucial part. Then number 4, of course, to compare the layout of the same unit type. And of course, the 5th step will actually be get the prices of different levels to plot the price list.
If you look at this thing very wordy, right? Maybe we say very clear but also cannot understand very clearly. So that's the reason why we are going in depth, step by step.
Yeah,
So
which
again,
is
we
good.
use case study. Okay, so first thing, like what Karissa has mentioned, first thing is that we need a shortlist unit type. So for Springleaf, in specific pertaining to Springleaf Residences, we are using case study between 2 and 3 bedroom. And we first identify 786 and 646. So what is the reason for doing these two side by side? First thing first, yourself as a buyer, or if let's say you have an agent with you, he or she must be also able to identify which two I want to compare. Because why do we pick 646 and 786? Because the size difference between this 2-bed and 3-bed is only 140 square feet.
Yes.
Because it doesn't make sense for me to say, oh, I want to compare 2-bed, 3-bed. So I compare 600 square feet and 900 square feet. Then for sure, 900 square feet, the quantum difference is super big difference.
Correct. Or even 527 versus 786 is also a
big
huge,
contrast.
yeah, correct.
Yeah. So first thing first, we must be able to even know which is the unit type that we want to shortlist.
Correct.
So maybe we can just quickly look at the floor plan. This is actually a 2-bedroom, and then this is actually a 3-bedroom, because the size is 140 square feet difference only. So actually it's more of like extra room over here.
It's also similar to like dumbbell, it just says extra room for the 786.
Correct, we look into the floor plan later on for each unit type in detail, but we go through the step first. Now we have already identified that, okay, I want to use these two layout as a comparison.
Compare the prices of the same facing units.
Correct.
So again, when you see the site plan, there is so many units.
900 over units.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Correct. So how are we going to exactly compare which are the facing, which are the units that we want to ask for in terms of the pricing?
Correct.
So this is again back at step 2. So comparing the pricing of the same facing units to understand the premium. So why do we compare 2 and 3 bedroom? Just now we already explained. The size difference is only 140 square feet. Let's say for example, we talk about this stack 21 versus stack 20, which is the same facing. Assuming, let's say the price difference is 350,000. So 350,000 size difference of 140 square feet, that will equivalent to 2,500 PSF. So that means I'm paying $2,500 for additional 140 square feet when averagely the pricing in Springleaf itself maybe is going about 2001 to 2002. So this is scenario 1. So let's say scenario 2, if the price difference is only 200,000 and we divide by 140 square feet, right? The PSF becomes 1,428 PSF. That means on top of this additional square feet that I'm looking at, right, I'm not paying this standard maybe 2001 or even 2002 PSF, but instead I'm only paying 1,428. So in this scenario, should I buy a 2-bed or 3-bed?
Correct. So the thing is that if let's say the average pricing is just 2,000, but for additional 140, I need to pay 2,500, right? Of course, it's not worth it, right?
Yeah.
The value of the property is 2,000, but I'm paying 2,500 per square foot for the additional 140. So for sure, this one is not worth it. But in the second scenario, instead of paying 2,000 for every 1 square feet that I'm looking at, I'm actually paying less than that. I'm just paying like 1,500. If it can be even lower, let's say $1,000 to $1,200 per square foot is even more worth it.
Correct.
Because I'm not paying the actual dollar
Full
to dollar
PSF, yes.
for the additional top up. So between this scenario, of course, we don't have the pricing right now, so we are not able to say that for sure today we are going to look at the 3-bedroom, or for sure today we're going to look at the 2-bedroom. But these are situations that you will have when you are at the launch day.
Right?
When you're at the launch day, in order to be able to compare and identify immediately which is the better one.
Correct.
So these are the steps that we need to look into to get the pricing for these two, so that we can immediately know what is the additional top up that I need to pay for.
Yes. Then you can make a more informed decision. So this is already the step 2. So then next we will proceed to step 3. So now compare the prices of a same unit types but different phasing to understand the premium.
Correct. So assuming we are forced into a situation 2 whereby I just pay a little bit more to top up, right? Lesser than the $2,000 per square foot, right? So I say that, okay, I fall into scenario 2, I am looking at 786.
Instead of 646.
Yes,
correct.
So now the next question is, 786. So again, if you look at this, right, this is also from our app. Immediately when I click onto 786, right, I get all these blue dots
highlighted
that come out,
ones.
right?
So I know where exactly are the different phasings for the 786.
Correct. So the thing is that now we know that, okay, all the 786 falls into all these different stacks, right? We know that there is actually towards this facing. We know that there's actually towards the Springleaf Forest, more towards the inside facing. But then again, inside facing, you can be facing the tennis court, you can be facing the swimming pool, stuff like that.
Yes.
So we want to know the 786 falls into which facing, and we want to know the pricing to understand the premium. Because if you are the developer, usually you will load more on the better facing or not so nice facing.
Of course, it's the better facing, right? So then I will then know that if let's say the premium facing is very close to the not so good facing, then the premium is very little, then maybe I can really consider, it really makes sense for me to go for a premium facing unit.
Then the next question is, if you are the developer, would you feel that the forest facing is more premium or the pool view is more premium?
Forest facing.
But we won't know as of now.
I would think that the forest facing.
You like the forest view?
Because I really like the forest view.
I think it's very nice view. So you could be right, but again, all these we can only get to know the pricing.
Correct.
If you are able to identify and get the pricing, then you know, hey, okay, so this developer load more on the forest. Then what's the difference in terms of the loading?
Yeah, is it a lot
premium?
or is it very little?
Correct.
Or is it something that we really can consider because it's really marginal in terms of the premium difference?
That's right. So now we have already identified, okay, I want 786 because of the difference in the per square foot is very little. I have already gotten all the prices for 786, the different facing, right? Next thing, before I do a confirmed decision, I also want to know, right, for this 786 series, this 3-bedroom series, 786, is there another alternative that I can look at before I confirm on that?
Yes.
So for Springleaf, in this case, right, they have got another alternative or a close comparison, which is the 818 square feet over here.
So it's 786 versus 818 now.
Correct. So then I will quickly click onto this two floor plan to see whether the floor plan, this additional 818 minus 786 is how much. So for 32 square feet, right, where does the space go to? Is it worth to pay for that? So for 786, just now we mentioned, is more like a little bit of a dumbbell. You come in, the kitchen is over here. Actually, for 818,
It's
right,
also open concept.
just that there's a window here.
Yeah, and then it's traditional kind of layout.
Instead of dumbbell, it's traditional. So I think in terms of the size, maybe it's a little bit more towards this area. Because for 786, you come in straight, it's the kitchen already.
Correct.
So the additional 32 square feet, it could be potentially more on the foyer area. Now we know the different layout already. We will then be able to make a better decision. So before that, step 4, right, compare layout of the same unit type. So now we want to compare these two layout, right? We also want to know, 786 face where, right? Just now we already talked about that. Then 818 face where?
Yeah.
So if you look at this, right, 818 actually faces towards the expressway.
So on our app, right, straight away we also know that 818 punch out the numbers that, let's say we select this unit type, right, comes out straight away is the expressway facing. So that, again, we need to know the premium and the different pricing.
If you have seen again our previous analysis, right, because we studied a lot of all the pricing strategy from developer, typically if it's expressway facing, the per square foot could be lower. So in this case, if let's say I'm looking at 818, right, maybe the per square foot price is slightly lower, but I'm getting a little bit more space. Plus the window in the kitchen.
And then, of course, traditional layout as well.
Yes, correct. Yeah. Then after that, versus the 786, I get a slightly smaller area. Maybe it's still acceptable, but then I get a better facing. So these two, right, in terms of the quantum, it could be very, very similar.
And then plus it's 32 square feet difference only.
It's
and then
not
if
like
let's say 818 is really on the lower PSF, then you might get some of the premium facing or even pool facing at the same price as the 818.
Correct. Same pricing, but difference in size are slight difference. So we have come to that. We have identified that between 786 and 818. So again, as of now, we don't have the pricing yet. So we need to know on the launch day, then we can see what's the price difference, whether we want to pay a slightly more for maybe same price, but whether we want to get the facing that we want, something like that, right?
Yep.
Lastly, last but not least, we also need to get different levels so that we'll be able to straight away know where the developer load in terms of the levels. Because this time around, we are actually 25-story high.
Yep.
Okay, 25-story high developer sure in between will have extra premium lah.
Not only that, the facing, right, some of them is unblocked facing. So if let's say the higher you go, the more unblocked
Maybe
it
it's
is.
more sudden search.
Yeah.
Right.
So I would think that maybe if let's say we could have a few pricing, then we will know where exactly is the premium jump. Let's say for example, 5th floor to 10th floor. If it's constant.
So maybe we can divide this into 5 sections. So we can get prices for 5, 10, 15, 20, and then 25.
Let's say we will have pricing for 5th floor and also 10th floor, for example, like this, right? 5th floor and 10th floor. Then we divide by 5. Then we will know whether this per floor jump, whether is it constant or not.
Correct.
Then after that, we will go to 15th floor again. Then we divide again. Then we know whether is there a difference in terms of the
per floor increment.
Correct. Say for example here, suddenly there is a difference. That means in between here, the developer has already loaded some of the premium in terms of, let's say, example, maybe 18th floor onwards, they has a higher jump in terms of the per floor jump.
So we can see from here, let's say for example 5th to 10th floor, there's like a 50,000, then you know that per floor jump maybe 10,000. But suddenly from the 20th to 25th floor, right, it's actually 100,000 instead of 50,000. You know that somewhere the per floor has a sudden increment already.
Yes, correct.
So coming back to, let's say for example this one, right, say for 5th floor, I know that I want to get, just now we mentioned, I want to know the forest facing. I need to get the 5th floor for this. I need to get the 10th floor for this. Okay, maybe a few staggered floors. Then versus my pool facing over here, again, I get the 5th floor. So if I have 5 pricing here, 5 pricing here, something like that, I can actually get 10 pricing and I straight away will know that whether I want to go for the forest or I want to go for the pool.
Correct.
So then again, I can get another 5 pricing over here. That adds up to 15 sets of price. I can then identify whether I want to maybe pay a little bit more for 818 or it could be actually similar quantum for 818.
Correct. So because first we need to understand the premium difference between two of the different stacks. Then after that we compare with a different layout.
Correct. Yeah. Then different floors as well.
Correct.
So all in all, right, maybe in this whole situation, how we identify step by step, right, maybe in less than 30 sets of pricing, we will be able to straight away know which unit is actually the best price.
Yes.
The best price and the best buy. Instead of going through like 200 sets of pricing before you can even know what to look at. Okay, so this is really important because as just now what we have illustrated, the earlier part, right? It's good that you're in a priority.
Yes.
But whether or not you know how to leverage on this and to make full use and to be able to identify the correct unit is another matter.
Yes.
So this one is really need some careful study and analysis of all this. So this is actually what we have come up with in terms of the 5 steps to really guide you through your proper purchase.
Yes. So if let's say you are keen to find out more, you just contact any one of us and then we will be happy to share with you.
Of course, yeah. Even you have already placed a check and you need more advice or whatsoever, if it's not for this, but for any other upcoming ones, right? Basically, the concept of it, how we actually apply this is actually very similar. It's really more of like, for example, just now we mentioned, even if it's not for priority, you are going for a ballot. You also need to be able to know what is the correct one.
Especially when you're queue number 1, you'll be a bit lost.
I would love to have this problem on queue number 1. Or number 2 also can, but we need to be super careful in this.
Exactly. Without further ado, we will go down to the layout analysis. So this part we will run through very quickly because it's pretty much standard. They don't have a lot of layouts, only the 3 bedrooms.
Not so confusing.
Yeah, correct. We have this one bedroom
start from
at
800 over 1,000, right?
So 388 square feet. They are actually all in this area, which is the conserve building.
So it's only 8 units in total, huh? That means 2 stacks lah. 1 stack is 4 level.
Correct. That's why only 8 units.
So this is 388 square feet. It may sound small, but because this one is without balcony. So that means all the space, the 388 square feet is all usable space lah.
And then
You can step on.
it's harmonized.
Correct. Nothing much on this one. It's a very attractive quantum, but the only thing is I don't know whether you are able to get it because it's only 8 units. Layout wise is standard 1 bedroom.
Yes.
Yeah. Next. So the smallest unit for all the typical blocks, right, will be from 2 bedroom onwards.
Which is 527 square feet, 2 bed, 1 bath. Okay, so there are a lot of different stacks. There are 9, 16, 17, 24, 32. Some are inner facing. Some are inner facing. Some are also the SLE facing as well, which is somewhere, should be here. Okay, layout wise, right, I would say it's pretty much standard as well. Dumbbell layout, 2 bed, 1 bath. The good thing is that you have actually a proper dining area as well. And then living room width at 2.8, which is also, I think you need to take note because there is another layout that you might consider.
646
Yeah,
okay, let's
correct.
do that.
Because 646 is actually at 3.1.
3.1 is quite common for 3 bedroom, not so common for 2
Correct,
bedroom.
correct. But then we need to understand that if let's say we are looking at 2 bedroom, 3.1 versus 2.8, yes, there is a significant difference, but whether is it worthwhile to actually get this size or not, later we will actually touch on as well. Then enclosable kitchen, which is here.
Tuck aside
then
lah.
proper dining, 6-seater, and then 2 bed, 2 bath. Back to this, we also have another layout, which is the 529 square feet unit, 2 bed, 2 bath at the conserve building. This is at stack 42 and 47.
So this one 2 bed 2 bath 529. That one 2 bed 2 bath is 646. Maybe the quantum should be more attractive.
But conserve units is something that we need to also take note because later we will show you some examples as well.
So coming back to just now, your question is 527 and 646 ma. So yes, I may need to pay a little bit more for 646 because of the wide living room, right? But is it worth paying?
So because 646 and 527 is 119 square feet.
And it's 1 bathroom difference, right?
Yes.
So in this example that we state, right, assuming the average pricing for this development is 2001, that means you say it will be 250,000 more. 250,000 more for 2 bedrooms sounds quite a big difference in terms of quantum.
Significant enough to think about it again.
Yeah. That's true really. So it's 250,000 for wider living room, kitchen, and then of course the additional bathroom,
better facing, etc.
So this one, to answer this question, right, it goes back to just now what we have shared. Remember the part that the additional top up. Are we going to pay exactly 2,000 or 2,001 per square foot for the additional top up? Or are we actually able to pay much lesser for the additional top up? Then that will answer the question of does it make sense to even go for the bigger size? So as of now, we do not know because we don't have the actual pricing yet.
So that means, let's say if it's 1,005 or even 1,000 PSF, then maybe we really can consider this, the 646.
Because 1K times 119, right, it's only 119,000. So 190,000 and 250,000 is very big difference. So all these we will only be able to know on the launch day, we get the price, and then we quickly examine into these two difference. But for now, of course, if let's say today you are getting for own stay, you feel that you really need to have the 2 bathroom, then of course this is actually a layout that it is actually very okay, because we have a tuck-in kitchen. More importantly, like this one, right, it's actually spacious, especially for 2 bedroom, because it will really feel
rare to come by, I would say. Rare to come by. But if not, in terms of investment wise, we will recommend the 527
in terms of rental yield.
Yes.
Next, we come to 3 bedroom, which Lisa is very excited about. So she's going to do the showing right now.
Okay, so 3 bedrooms that I mentioned, there are a lot of different layouts. There are 786 and 818. So these are the 2 open concept kitchen ones. The main difference, I would say, right, facing wise is inner facing and forest facing. This is SLE facing.
Just now we mentioned about that already.
Correct. Then for here, right, I would say 818, the main difference is actually the foyer. So actually all the 3 bedrooms are the main difference is the foyer area. Yeah,
we have quite a number of sizes, but the main difference is the foyer area.
Correct. Of course, this one, in terms of layout wise, this one is a bit more different lah. This one is a bit more traditional. Then this one is a bit the dumbbell layout. Okay, now we go to standard one first. So standard ones, this is the layout that I'm looking at actually. 904 square feet.
Maybe you can share why?
Yeah, so the reason why I would pick this one is that all the standard one comes with a dry kitchen, which is very rare to come by. Proper dining. Then it comes with a flexi room as well. The main difference between the 904 and the 926 is actually here. The foyer area
again. Because the room sizes are all the same.
About the same. I don't have the exact measurements, but I look at it, I think it's about the same. Then we have one more layout, which is the 926 C5.
This one is the walkway is even longer.
It's even longer. So instead of like this, instead of L, then this one is straight in. Yeah, straight in. And then we have one more layout, which is the 958. It's longer.
This one is straight in.
Longer.
In, then longer.
Yeah,
this
longer
one combined too.
Correct. So in terms of these, right, I compare 3 of the layouts, or even 4 layouts, right, I would prefer this. This is my number 1 top choice, because in terms of functionality of the unit, everyone is about the same. But if let's say in terms of pricing wise, I'm paying this extra space, then I just feel that it's a bit pointless to pay for this extra space.
I just noticed something. Just now, remember we were talking about 786 and 818, and 818 is actually the expressway facing. So this one same thing. The bigger one, 958, is actually the expressway facing. So that means to say there could be a chance that 958 Quantum can be very similar to 926. You get a little bit more space, but you could be paying about the same kind of pricing because of the expressway facing. Unless they look on the expressway facing, but which is not likely. So this is something, again, we have to be cautious about in terms of getting the prices, and then we can see what's the price difference from there.
So my game plan is also to do this strategy. Yeah, because I also won't have all the pricing, right? So my game plan is to ask for a few different stacks for 904, and then of course the 926, and then the 958. Then I can make a better or clearer picture of how I want to actually compare in terms of pricing wise, in terms of which one actually is more worthwhile to go for.
Because for 904, you have got inner and expressway facing also.
Yes.
So again, you need to know what's the price difference. If the premium is actually very little, then of course, by all means, go for the inner facing. But if let's say if it's a big contrast, then maybe a second thought whether you want to get a 904 inner facing, or maybe to upgrade a little bit more to 926.
Yes.
Yeah. So again, the 5 steps comes in even for your own purchase.
Yes, correct.
But of course, if let's say based on just floor plan itself, our recommendation definitely still will be the 904 square feet, because we have actually mentioned already, putting aside the prices as of now, because we don't know where's the loading, but looking at just purely the sizes and the floor plan, then of course 904 is the best recommendation.
Exactly.
Because the rest of the extra space goes mostly to the foyer area. So that's for 3 bedroom. Next, we have got the 3 bedroom plus.
So actually, I also thought of this, but I need to stretch so that's why.
So you need to punch in the calculator
so
more.
I need to punch in the calculators a bit more. So 1023 versus 1076. Basically, it's also about the same in terms of the layout. They also have this bath here, which I like. Okay, come in, can wash your legs and kind of before going to the house. But the main key difference again is the foyer lor. It's the foyer part that is different. If you ask me, I will also consider this one more.
And the difference between the plus and the standard is that we have extra home shelter.
Yes.
So basically, I will view this as 3 different series. Remember the 786 and 818? That one is like the 3-bedroom compact. You have everything you need for a 3-bedroom. And then the standard series will be the one with the flexi, which is the one that we mentioned, 904, 926, 958.
Yes.
Then the next series, which is the plus or the premium, is that it comes with the flexi as well as a home shelter. That's why the space generally is 1,000 square feet.
And generally, I think a lot of buyers, they will prefer this.
Actually, really for own stay,
I prefer this.
Because you have a flexi which can potentially act as a study. Then you still got a bomb shelter which can be a storage, even though we're not supposed to, but everybody does that. So this is actually a very nice layout. So same thing, 1023 and 1076. You go for 1023. Putting aside the price first, but in terms of the layout and the layout efficiency, we go for 1023.
Correct.
This is the one that we want to touch on a little bit more in terms of the conservation building.
Because the conserve itself, the layout, the size is actually 1119. It's also a 3-bedroom, 3-bed 2-bath. Doesn't come with any
balcony.
Correct. There is no flexi also because you're a yard only. There's no flexi and no bomb shelter.
But I see something very unique, which is the beams over here.
Because I think it's a conserve.
The structure is already there. They can't do much. That's why you have the beams over here. So over here, you need to do a little bit of ID for that. If not, right, then in your house itself, you have 3 beams. And even though this one has got the balcony, right, the beam is actually at the balcony. So a bit weird looking. Right?
And then plus the size-wise is 1259. Something that you need to take note of if you are looking at the conserve, because the 4 bedrooms, right, the size is also very similar.
Because the 4-bedroom size is 1227.
Correct.
This one you're getting a 3-bedroom at 1259.
Correct.
The only plus point that I see from here is the wide frontage living. That generally makes your house feels much bigger. But how do we determine whether is it correct or whether is it worth to pay for a bigger space and for the conserved building? So again, like we mentioned, we always want to use case studies and case example. We are going to use Avenue South.
Yeah, because Avenue South also has this conserved building part.
So okay, if you are looking at conservation building, not just because it's a conservation building, it's because like the 3-bedroom, right, the size is actually much bigger as compared to the typical units. So one thing to note is that if today, I think it makes a lot of sense, if today I'm getting a 1259 square feet or 1119 square feet, right? But my per square foot is much lower.
Then it probably makes sense, right?
Then it makes sense for me to go for the bigger unit. Okay, why is this so? Now, if you look at this example, right, this is actually the units in normal building. This Avenue South, and these 2 units transacted is actually the normal building one, low floor. If you look at it, right, the purchase price is at $1,008 per square foot, and the profit that these 2 units actually profited, right, is about averagely 300,000. Now, the unit that's located in a conservation building, if you look at the per square foot purchase, it's similar. It's similar. But if you look at the size, so this one has got the same trend. The size is bigger for the 2-bedroom, but the per square foot price I'm paying is the same.
But actually even higher. If you
slightly higher, yes.
Slightly higher.
$10 difference, $10 higher. Which means to say, my total quantum, if you look at here, the total quantum, first thing is already higher.
Yes.
But if you look at the profits that they make, right, it's actually lower. So I'm paying higher per square foot, I'm paying higher quantum, but my profit made is actually lower. Why my profit made is lower? I feel maybe because in the building, right, maybe it's lower rise. So if I'm a buyer, I will perceive this as a low rise. I'll perceive that the unit is actually low floor. In Avenue South, the high floors has got nice views. As an own-stay buyer or as a resale buyer, I'd probably be more willing to pay a little bit more premium for the higher floors. And that could be one of the explanations why the profit for this one is actually lower.
And also, I think based on conserve, right? Conserve, you need to find the buyers that really like conserve buildings.
I feel a bit like the walk-up apartments. The culture, a bit like that.
Yes. So if let's say I'm paying this PSF, maybe I really won't consider.
But if let's say, for example, if this one is actually 1,007 plus, maybe you have $100 difference already. Then this is something that you can actually be worth to consider. So that's for the 2-bedroom that we're looking at. So this one is actually 3-bedroom. Units located in normal building, right? This one, right, is actually 947 square feet. So the conserved units is also 947. And this time round,
their PSF is actually different.
Lower. Much lower.
So what they bought in is at the purchase PSF, right, is 2051 versus 1754.
I circled the wrong part.
So in terms of quantum wise, right, is 1.9 versus 1.6.
then that makes sense.
Yeah, correct. So because even if I want to exit lower or in terms of a different pricing strategy, I can still have a decent profit.
Okay, but still, right, if you look at this, even I purchase lower, but my profits made is actually still lower.
Correct.
But this one, at least the contrast is not so big because my purchase price in the first place is
significantly
much
lower.
lower. Yeah. So this is also a factor to note on the pricing when you're comparing the typical units and the conserved building.
Correct. So this is our recommendation. So between the 3-bedroom standard and the 3-bedroom plus, right, is 1119 square feet. So if let's say, which is also why I'm also thinking of the 1023. So if let's say it costs additional of 150,000, that will equate to 1260 PSF for the additional toilet, bomb shelter and flexi.
So my question to you is that if the difference in terms of the total quantum is 150,000, will you go for 1023?
Yeah, I will go for this. Yeah.
This is something like a benchmark that we can look at.
Yes. Because in terms of resale in the future, to be honest, this one will appeal more to buyers. And if let's say you are buying at this, your cushion wise in terms of your profit is already there.
I guess the benchmark that we're looking at can be like, this one is 1,260 but around that 1,260 to about 1,005, because we are looking at averagely the prices over here is about 2,000 to 2,001 in terms of the pricing.
Then if let's say if it's 300,000 or maybe it's
then you have to do
119 or 250,000, that equates to 2,005 PSF, right? Yeah, then maybe I really won't go for the 1023 because the developers also understand the buyers, their mindset and everything. So it really depends on how the developer wants to price the units.
Then of course we talk about the different facing, the different levels, so all this plays into part. Next,
4-bedroom, yeah.
So 4-bedroom is 1,227. I think it's a very decent size for a harmonized development. 1,002 square feet equates to probably about 1,003 plus for non-harmonized, right? So this one, in terms of the layout, the difference is
similar.
here.
It's only the toilet part. The toilet part is different only.
But the rest of it is pretty much the same.
Yeah, pretty much the same.
This is actually a portrait layout.
Yes.
Nothing wrong with that, just that we often say in our analysis, for 4-bedroom, if you can have a choice of the wide living frontage, that would be even more ideal. But if not, if let's say for today's Springleaf, the price quantum for 4-bedroom is very attractive. So I think in terms of the layout, it's something that is very doable, acceptable. And plus the fact that, right, you can actually have an option of not to have the wall. If you not have the wall, right, means to say you can actually do it into really a wide frontage living, just that you have 3 rooms only but it's a very spacious and luxurious 3-bedroom unit for 1,227.
Yeah, so if let's say buyers that have that budget, then thinking of maybe I want to really go for this, you can have that option, because some of the harmonized projects or even some of the projects you cannot remove the wall. So there is no way you can convert it into a landscape. But this one, there is at least the benefit of doing that.
Correct. So this is actually the flexibility in terms of the 4-bedroom, the layout. Next, last but not least, we have the 5-bedroom, 1453 and 1475. Again, the main difference is the foyer area. I guess it's the way they have to structure it. So the foyer, if you notice all the different unit types, all the difference in foyer area. So same thing, if you choose not to have this wall, right, then it can be a very spacious living 4-bedroom. Because this is actually one of the Showflat unit. I think the size is very acceptable.
One more thing to note, right? So 1453 has the window part.
That's the main.
Then the
difference,
1475, right, don't have the window part.
Okay, this one is very important.
Correct. Because this cross ventilation portion is something that is very rare to come by. Because you just imagine if it is a wall and then you only have this ventilation, it's very different as compared to when you have both.
And this is rare.
Yes, correct.
This is rare in
you only get this mostly in the high-end districts.
This can only happen when the units per floor is lesser. So that it makes sense for you to have this window over there.
Correct.
If it's like too many units, right, then you'll be facing a lot of walls, so it doesn't make sense. So this one is actually very important. I think very rare.
Very rare to come by.
Between these two, then I think it's a clear choice that if let's say I do have a choice, I'll go for this 1453 square feet with the cross ventilation.
Same. I totally agree.
This is the one, the recommended choice cut here. Super nice.
Yep.
Okay.
So we have come to the end of our analysis.
That's all for our analysis for Springleaf Residence. We will still be able to catch you for this weekend's preview. And then after that will be subsequent weekend will be the launch already.
Correct.
So as we mentioned, if you need more information on whether are you eligible for the priority queue, feel free to drop us a text and then we'll be happy to help you, to assist you on that. And then also we've been through the 5 steps of how we're going to analyze all the price point, which is very, very important, because if you are in a priority, you need to leverage on that effectively and efficiently.
Yep.
Even if you are not in a priority, you are in the normal balloting, it also makes sense because you need to be able to know which is the correct you need to buy, especially if you are in the front part of the queue.
So let's say even if you are looking at other projects, not only this project, and you have some queries and doubts that if let's say which kind of unit should I go for, what are the things I need to look out for, can always reach out to us.
The unit selection. So if you have liked our video so far, please give us a like and subscribe to our video so that we'll be able to share more video content with all of you. We'll see you in our next analysis. Thanks
Thank
for
you so
watching.
much.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.